What's up, people? We fitting to have a conversation today. No guest. Well, Monty's my guest today. We about to have a nice conversation and get some stuff off of our chest. First of all, I have to say, the weather we had yesterday and today. I'm a spring baby, and sorry, I live downtown, so there's always something going on. But I'm a spring baby, and it's something about this weather where it's still a nice breeze, but the sun is out and it's kind of balancing each other. So you're not too hot because there's a nice breeze to get that sweat off of you. But yesterday I don't know what, well, I'm not gonna say I don't know. Over the last year, literally, so what's today? Today is the 12th. So it's been a year. And what is crazy, because the 12th was the 12th on a Thursday last year. It's been exactly a year since I've been in a classroom, a physical classroom teaching. And I feel some kind of way. I really miss it. But as we all know, there's a big battle between our mayor and our governor. And it looks like our mayor is probably losing. And they are opening schools open back up this well, not all schools, elementary schools. um they didn't decrease the size of the classrooms. They have a contingency plan in terms of keeping the children in the classroom, one classroom all day long. I don't understand socially distance because it could be up to almost 30 kids in a classroom in some of these schools, a lot of these schools. And in conjunction with that, the teacher stays in that room. They get their lunch brung to them, and then all of their enrichment teachers are supposedly going to be Skyped in or um, virtually in the classroom. So I am I'm not for that. A lot of the teachers, some of the teachers who probably over a certain age or who probably got allowance because something else, uh, got the vaccination, but a lot of the teachers do not have a vaccination. None of the children have a vaccination. I'm sure none of the support staff have vaccinations. None of the cleaning staff has had a vaccination. And I want to see, how well these companies keep these schools clean. But for me, it is very bittersweet because I've been an art educator slash teaching artist for a number of years. I started when I was about 23. And so that's a number of years ago. Shout out to Cash Hester for giving me my first teaching job with Tracy Jiggets. But like I feel sad. I've had a number of the parents who kind of taken a liking to me this for the school that I'm at right now. Uh, they're really upset because some of their children really, you know, opened up to me. I kept in touch with certain students who I knew had some issues and I did some social groups with a couple students in kind of like a mentor type of way. And it's gonna be real bittersweet. But until, you know, and I was really thinking hard about going back to school and getting my teacher certification. Um, but I don't know. I don't know if the investment in my time would be worth it in this moment. So I'm gonna pray over it. I'm going to really pray over it. But this weather, going back to what I was initially saying, this weather really woke something up in me that I think has been dormant for the last year. That's how I got onto the year. So it's been exactly a year, and I don't know. Last year, I didn't really allow myself to enjoy the outside world. Everything was in the confounds of my home. I got out a couple times because I was doing a play that we did virtually. But everything else I did from these walls in this home of mine. But if anybody else out there is having these same issues, let me know. And what was very unfortunate, I worked for a company. I won't say their name, but I worked for a company, a black led, organized, predominantly company that could care less. And it was very unfortunate. And I really feel some kind of way right now that, I haven't gotten any calls from them. I haven't gotten any correspondence from them. And I still do some one-on-one acting and theater and coaching with children in the arts. So if you're looking for some extra programming for your child, please hit me up, scenewurk, SCENEWURK at gmail.com, or you can go through the Artist Exchange page and hit me up because I think I might have to do more freelancing. And I don't like doing that because it doesn't always the format that we have right now where everything's virtual. I'm learning that. I'm getting more comfortable with that. But once it's open up, sometimes people it's more convenient for them to be here or there or whatever. But yeah, artists are very dispensable to this world, and we're used when people need entertainment or they need a flair to their dull programming. But I've seen throughout this pandemic how artists were just tossed to the side, and we just use as entertainment, dancing jigs for people. And I'm really outside of that. Me and Monty were talking a little bit about that, and I'm gonna bring him on shortly. But we were, just talking about just the value of, a job. I no longer have a job. Like as an artist, everything I do, even if I'm working for another company, it's through my business. And I've worked very hard. And I think this last year I've shown myself just how resilient I am, just how dependent on me I am, and how not to be dependent on another company because the company that I work for, when we first a year from this today, um, my company sent me out a couple of grants, some links to social services programs, some soup kitchens, some elderly breads. That's what they sent us. So that's what they thought of their instructors. But I wish them well, and I've been noticing their programming got a lot of white faces on it, their marketing. So more power to them. I hope they're doing well. I'm sure they finagle something, but it's just upsetting to me that you put in work, and I know I haven't been with this company for the entire duration of my teaching artist career, but I've done a lot of work. I've done some great work, and for you to just not even think twice or not even support the talent that you do have or help foster it or something throughout this. But this pandemic has really shown me how much I have to depend on me, what my contribution to everything that I'm connected to, what that means, and I'm loyal to those who are loyal to me. That's my new um, outlook in this, even beyond this pandemic, because this is going to be old news soon, hopefully soon. But I'm loyal to those things that are loyal to me, and I can't say it any other way. And there are um, a few things that we've been doing. So for the Artist Exchange and moving forward, we're going to be partnering up with a few art organizations, independent artists to do some content, some programming. If you looked at the Artist Exchange YouTube page, you've seen it's been a little bit more active. Right now, the most prominent thing on it is a binge-worthy podcast series with myself and G. Oliver. We've been discussing film and TV shows, and just the impact that this TV, these films, screenwriters, actors, directors have on our culture, our history, and the impact they have on us socially. And we've been doing really great. Even the Artist Exchange show itself has been doing really great. And we're working on revamping some things. I have a great intern who I'm teaching. So we'll be doing some more once I get Jermaine. Shout out to Jermaine. Hopefully he'll be joining me sometime, but he's a college student, so I don't want to take away from that work. And he's been really supportive in helping me book shows and such because we have a number of really great guests coming up for the month of April and for the rest of March. So definitely look out for the Artist Exchange. And all you do, please like, share, subscribe to the Artist Exchange Radio Show on Be Exposes Radio YouTube page. We need you to like, share, follow, click on that bell so you get the notifications when our shows come on. If you're looking for a show, Be Exposed Radio is at home for you. So definitely stay tuned, stay locked in. If you have an idea for a show, if you have a show and you're looking for a new home, if you've always wanted a show, you have an idea for a show, you need somebody to help you. I'm great at that. I've done that for a number of the shows that we've had on and have on Be Exposed. So I'm always looking to meet new people. I know this pandemic kind of paused a lot of stuff for Be Exposed, but we're ready and we're ready and we have been keeping it moving. So I hope you've been able to look through our programming and see what we've been doing. We have a number of great shows right now happening. We have some shows that are coming back. We're looking for new shows to fill up our surrounding slots. So, hit us up. Info at bigaudio.com. You can reach us personally on Facebook, on Instagram, and just let us know that you want a show. And we will be on it popping in and such. Personally on Facebook. See, that's YouTube. We live right now. So what I want to do is I got a couple questions. So I'm gonna bring Monty in and have him join the conversation. Monty, he's been on hiatus for a minute, but we gotta force him to come out sometimes. He's a little shy. Hey, Monty.
Okay.
So I want to get some of the politics out the way first.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed you've been so not politics, but people in politics. So first of all, I want to talk about Cuomo.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you think is going to happen to him? Do you think he's going to be forced to resign?
That's a great question.
Because he doesn't look like he's giving up anytime soon.
And he shouldn't. And I think everybody, the one thing that I think everybody
but they
should
only
be
have
trying
this
to do
one
because
person,
they're trying to
though.
force him out, which I don't get that because he already said he's going to cooperate with the investigation, right? So how about we wait till the investigation is complete? Because why are you're wasting your voice on doing this? He already told you he's not resigning. So you're wasting your voice on this. So either you impeach him or shut up.
Well, the new trend now over the last like 10, 15 years, this is what they do now. So they keep it on social media so public opinion can already be heightened.
Mm-hmm.
So when the proceedings go on, it just it just looks all bad. So he's shamed into resigning before, justice prevails, quote unquote. But I feel it's crazy. I know there are other people who are accusing him, but all the attention seems to be going on this one woman. And I haven't seen her. Yeah, but I haven't seen outside of that interview. I haven't seen her, on every channel, on every, but it's just interesting that woman. Other people that are accusing him, but I'm one. I think New York is going to lose a good leader if they scare him into or shame him into uh, resigning, and he's been the one that's kind of kept New York going this whole time. Because if we lose New York, that's it.
Right.
Everything in this country is out of New York. So I'm really afraid we're going to lose New York in terms of voters, in terms of people. A lot of people have moved out of New York. I know a lot of artists who have left. And that was just from the pandemic. But if they lose him as a leader, I can just imagine who was going to replace him.
Yeah.
So that's
yeah. I just don't.
What do you? I mean, but what do you think he should do? Like,
no, I think he should ride it out. I think he should ride it out. But something's fishy. Something still seems fishy about this to me. All of a sudden,
we're not even in an election year.
Yeah, and then inside the like I said, I can't remember whose show I was on, but like I said though, this seems fishy because in the after effects of the Me Too movement, you waited so long after this has supposedly happened to you to come forward. And who does that? Who does that now in hindsight of the Me Too movement? This has been 4 years in the making, and you mean to tell me at that point in time when it was happening to you, it wasn't that severe, but now you want to cry on television?
Because this is his second term, if I'm not mistaken.
This is his third term.
Third term, okay. And he just got reelected, and you didn't think to say this, not to say you did it to derail him, but that would have been a perfect time. He would have been out of, that would have cost him the election.
I just keep going back to the fact that this man is single, right? And he was looking for a date. And I'm just trying to figure out, like, out of all the things, I mean, maybe, like I said, it may be inappropriate that he was looking for a date on his job, but that's where he works. That's where he's at all day long. Right. We have forgotten that thing called work-life balance. He's the top of the state. There is no work-life balance for him. He's on 24/7. So he actually has no clear environment on how he can have a dating pool. Does that make sense to you? He has to swim in every pool to find a date, basically, even at work, unfortunately.
It sounds, and I don't want to come across as if I'm sexist or anything of that nature, but it does seem really fishy that it's coming out now. It's coming out like this. And one thing that I have to say to people in general, not just women, if somebody is hitting on you or aggressive or flirting with you, that's not automatically abuse or abuse of power. He didn't threaten to fire you. There was no pink slip on your desk. There was no going to your boss, because he's not even your direct boss, to, say anything. He didn't start rumors about you. It sounds, and I'm wondering, was it
That's why I said with this one in particular, the one that's been on TV circuit in particular, I would like to know more. Like Nora O'Donnell did me no justice with her interview, because she was treating the girl.
She set it up.
She was treating the girl like a victim. She was treating her like she was a victim, and she's not a victim. She wasn't assaulted. She wasn't raped this time, but she was raped in her past. Yes, I give that to you. But at some point in your relationship with Governor Cuomo, you felt open enough to tell him about your rape. For the fact that he brought it up to you,
talking about it, you should have said something.
For the fact that you brought it up he brought it up to you and asked you questions in relation to that, with the potential of going on a date with you, knowing your history, because you had to open that up to him. You had to, because no one's just going to confront you like, I know you been raped. You want to go on a date? That's not how that happened. I don't believe that's how that happened. Like, I know about you being raped, so how do you feel about older men? That's not how that happened.
And let's say, even if it did happen that way, you tell him you're not interested. You don't want to talk to him. You're not interested in.
That's what I'm saying. That's why Nora O'Donnell did it no justice. What was the closeout of your interaction that day? So he brought that up to you. He asked you out. How did you reject him? Did you say no, thank you? No, I'm not interested. I'm not in the mood. I'm not interested in that right now. How did you end it? Because they apparently ended right there because it was only one time. So for you to go to HR and be like, I was harassed, makes it seem to me like you were defending yourself in the sense of your rape. Like you're still stuck in your rape. And that's not wrong to be that way, but the reason why it probably didn't go any further and they probably didn't take it to him is because they felt the same way. You were not harassed. This was not repetitive. He did not repeatedly come to you saying, you sure you don't want to go out with me? You sure? Are you sure today? What about today? That did not happen. He asked you, and apparently it ended there. And then you went to HR and said you felt uncomfortable with this conversation.
But so you're someone who was paper, and I had a small stint in HR. And for your opinion, what would your response have been if she would have brought that to you?
First, I would have took a statement. I would have took a statement. What are you saying? I would ask questions behind it. Are you saying that he assaulted you, or are you saying that he did this more than once? Because that would have been one of my questions to her. How often does this happen? And then I would have said, okay, we're going to deal with this. And then she would have left my office. He would have been next. So we got a complaint on you. I need you to tell me what's going on and why this happened.
Right.
But then I couldn't be the one to retain that information. So after I took my interview statements, because it's the top of our organization, I would have had to take this to another level and probably sought out counsel.
Keep talking, because my phone about to die. And
so I would have took it to, because I wouldn't have been able to retain that because this is about the leadership. So I would have took it to another level, maybe sought counsel and brought somebody else in to be a mediator of this situation, because this is just not, it's not clear that was harassment versus somebody approaching you with a proposition.
Well, what's the next step?
Go on a date with me?
Because even here, we've had a lot of bad behavior happening at some of our companies, specifically in our arts community, over the last 5 years or so. House of Cards came tumbling down because it was reported that the lead actor and that was doing things. And even at some of our theater companies, we've had allegations of sexual harassment, and some were dealt with, others wasn't dealt with, some was allegedly false. What's the next step? So once somebody reports it, then what happens? Is it like a group meeting or individual meeting, or?
No, it would be individual. They would never do a group meeting if somebody is claiming that they have been harassed. You would never be sat down in the room with your harasser. But you would get to the bottom of it, which is why she requested to be transferred from that department. But apparently they did not see it as harassment. They just allowed you to transfer.
So and that was my issue with the interview, because I watched more of it since we talked last week, and in watching it, it was one of those interviews where it was an agenda. They were painting a picture to come up with a specific outcome.
Exactly. And then my problem with that was that they kept calling her a victim.
Yeah, yeah. So they were putting the verbiage out there, and that,
Yeah,
as we
to
talked
make
last
him
week,
as a predator, to make him a
right,
predator,
right, and
which that's
it's
inappropriate in itself because that's
as
not
for the
predatory
media,
behavior. To X you out on a
for
date
the
is that a
interviewer,
predator? Yeah.
right, for the interviewer to be put, because in a court of law, that would have been an objection,
Mhm.
and because you're putting
Because
words
there's
in
no
that
scope.
person's mouth.
Mhm.
So I wish whatchamacallit would have did the interview. Uh,
Kill.
yeah, yeah, because I just felt like she was painting the picture for her
Mhm.
and asking
She
leading
was asking leading
questions.
questions, exactly.
Yeah, and it just
And then she didn't give a resolution to it. That's the problem. That's the problem I was having too. There was no resolution to it. How did it end?
right, and there was never really an elaboration on an answer.
Mhm.
Like it was just a short answer and on to the next one. So it wasn't any
But
digging
here's
any
the
deeper.
thing: most people feel uncomfortable when propositioned in the first place for a date. So if you were
Yeah,
feeling uncomfortable, that's normal.
well,
If
uh,
somebody approaches you and asks
at
you out on
work,
a date, you do feel uncomfortable and weary and like, oh, I don't know yet. Let me make a decision. I'll let you know if I want to go. Well, when we're going to go? Or you're happy,
right.
but you're uncomfortable first, and then you're like, okay, sure, let's go out.
Yeah. And it would be understandable for her to be uncomfortable because of his position. If
Right.
nothing else, his position. So if that's what it was, okay, let's say that. Put that out there. So we can say,
But
okay,
that's
girl, this is
exactly what
not
I'm
news no
saying.
more.
He laid his cards bare. No
Hmm.
one is just going to outright approach you and tell you that they're lonely.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
laid his
Yeah.
cards bare. He started off by sympathizing with you, and I'm just doing this from my opinion. He started off by sympathizing you about your rape.
Yeah.
Moved on to saying, "How do you feel about older men?" Leading up to
But did
his
she
final
talk
question,
about that?
yeah, she did. That's how we know this because he asked her, "How do
Okay.
you feel about
Okay.
older men?" Because she's 25, he's dealt with a 22-year-old before, and all of that. It led to him
I
asking you,
might
"How
have
do you
to
feel about dealing with
listen
older
to
men?"
it.
And then leading to him, which was leading to him saying, "Would you like to go out with me?" That's where it ended,
Mm,
and I needed her to finalize that with, "How did you reject him?" Because if you were
mm.
uninterested, you just rejected. You didn't just walk out the office at that point. He's still your boss.
I, but see, all this is attached to cancel culture,
Hmm.
and I'm uncomfortable with
I
cancel
feel
culture.
it's attached to 44, 45. I mean,
Yeah, I
I
mean,
feel this is a Republican thing. Unfortunately, that's
it.
how I feel. I don't know if that's
Well,
true,
yeah, this
but that's how I
specifically,
feel. That this
yeah,
is a setup.
and I really, this case, I do believe this is where it's stemming from, and I
Hmm.
wouldn't put it past
Oh, y'all want to pull
Trump
my stuff out the
or
closet? Or let's find some
right.
people that the single man, the one that was getting all the praise
Yeah,
while
but
he was president.
it says something bad about our country that you can't speak out against power or
Hmm.
you know, allegations will come out against you, or you'll be, put under fire as he's being put under now because he was one of the biggest people who was consistently speaking out against Trump. And this
Hmm.
is the problem that I'm having with many of the Republican pundits and correspondents, Meghan McCain, and other people like that are it's childish. It's not even wrong anymore. It's just
Hmm.
childish. Like this is what you do to people who you don't agree with. I don't even argue with people anymore for reasons like this because it gets ugly and it's just for no reason.
Hmm.
And because he spoke out against you and became a strong leader for his state, you are now going to throw him under the bus with trumped up charges of sexual harassment after he extended himself in terms of asking her out on a date one time. She didn't say anything about him talking about her previous rape. She didn't say any. That would have been. I would have. If he assaulted me, I would have brought all. I mean, we know that they talked about it, but she didn't harp on the fact that and he was bringing up my rape and pressuring me, and it didn't sound like that. It sounded as if they had a conversation and they got I wouldn't go as far as saying she was uncomfortable with the conversation. But she did what she was supposed to do. She went to HR. Now what? Why are you on an interview? A national interview. Why are you doing that? Why is HR not their job? Are you not happy with the transfer you got? Are you getting harassed on the job? Like none of that was said. She not saying she's getting kicked back from work or it's been an uncomfortable work environment. You in a whole new environment now.
Mm-hmm.
Was it uncomfortable in the work environment that you were in?
Right.
It just feels, and I don't understand how people, especially these Republicans, that's why I know it's all a game for them. This is a game, like, and you using our political and justice system as your monopoly game. And it's
I
just,
mean, it just paints a whole horrible picture. Like during that whole entire interview, it was just like showing pictures of her and him together, real chummy, real close, you know, hugged up. Not hugged up like in a romantic sense, but hugged up in the pictures, like y'all real close. Y'all have that kind of intimate relationship, not to the intimate to the point of relationship, but intimate as far as in how y'all communicate with each other.
Right.
And it just seems off. Like what is your point? And do you feel like he was going to assault you? Like I'm just trying to. Where do you get the idea that you were being harassed?
Right.
Inappropriate. Yes, I'll give you that. Although I still take that back to, is it inappropriate if you had that kind of relationship on the workplace?
But see, this is going to make it messy in terms of hiring.
But that's also why I said I don't think these people are hireable. I really don't believe they are hireable. I wouldn't want you there. You don't know how to do conflict resolution.
And anything that happens within this office, you're going to take it.
You're going to go to the media with it.
Right. So that, if nothing else, that makes you unhireable.
This does not make you a whistleblower. This does not. Because you need to define harassment for yourself.
Yeah.
Because I can see if this was harassment and you didn't take it, you took it to HR and nothing happened. But this something did happen. It's only so much that can happen to the governor without it becoming public.
And how many times have you been hit on
their
before?
results for you was for you to request a transfer. Would you like to transfer? They gave you that opportunity. You didn't lose your job.
And that and now I'm continuously saying this, and I've been shot down on social media for joining conversations with the fact that if somebody hits on you, it's automatically creepy. It's assault. It's sexual harassment.
But that's not
because you're not attracted to me. You're not attracted to me. You're not interested in me. So now, because I want to know how many other people ever hit on her, and is she going to this extreme with the average Joe? Or is it because
I don't know the rest of them, and I don't know the rest of their stories. But it just seems like a hit job. It just seems like a hit job. Like y'all are trying to take this man down, who's a single. I still keep going back to the fact that he's a single man and he's older. He's trying to find a companion.
Now what if he would have really assaulted one of the others? It makes it look bad that you are.
They got you as the headline. Right. It makes it look bad that they got you as the headline, not the one that was actually assaulted.
It makes it look really bad. It makes it look really bad, and it just makes it look really bad. And I'm not one of the people that feel like every man is innocent, but this feels really.
It feels disgusting, actually.
Somebody who has been, and hypocrisy happens in politics all the time, in the world all the time.
I'm just trying to figure out. I would really like to know, like, who would hire her after this? Like, cause I could not see me hiring you at my organization because, one, you're untrustworthy. Two, you don't know how to do conflict resolution.
And you go right to the
media. You're apparently not smart enough to actually define your words properly because you kept saying, I was harassed, and you were not harassed. You were propositioned. Yes, I'll give you that.
It may have been an inappropriate. is a strong word. It was.
Well, the proposition meaning, would you like to go on a date? That's a proposition. That's not proposition as in prostitution, but you were propositioned as in you were given a question you were given a question that you could have answered, yay or nay.
And then you follow if you were in fact uncomfortable, you followed the procedure. You went to HR.
You did what you were supposed to do. So why are you on TV?
Because they didn't fire him. Because they didn't admonish him publicly.
But he's an elected official. He wasn't going to be fired anyway. So what do you want? Now you are doing this to ruin him for your lack of judgment and trying to do it and providing a proper decline of invitation.
And for somebody who's been very vocal about the misogynistic behavior of Trump, for them to then come out and do it, I could see if it sounded like if this had been going on.
And that's why I understand on the Dem side, right, the Democrat side, why they are requesting, because they're not actually doing forcible removal from office. They're requesting that he resigns because they're trying to stay on an even keel. Meaning, we do it on the Republicans. If they did something wrong like this, we ask them to resign. So we got to do it on our side too. But I thought y'all learned your lesson when y'all did Al Franklin the way y'all did. That he was exonerated after he resigned.
But I mean, that's happening in businesses across the board. If there's any mention, look, they are erasing Pepe Le Pew from cartoons right now. So it's not even right. And he was drawn that way. He was voiced that way.
Right.
Instead of forcing, it's just uncomfortable that this cancel culture is so.
Yeah, they was going after Miss Piggy too.
Powerful. Oh yes.
Because she harasses Kermit the Frog.
Right. And
now that's harassment, though.
Yeah.
And force, and what is it? Force
physically, and
he was physically forced to be with her.
And she hit him when he didn't do something.
She was abusive.
That's abuse. That's abusive. But I mean,
they forget everybody that knew about it was laughing at it. Don't cancel me for something that you actually.
It was funny because they were Muppets. That's why it was funny. Not the physical abuse portion
the Muppet
of it.
That's in the trash can on Sesame Street. They gonna take him out the trash now?
No, because they don't do nothing for homeless people.
Oh no, the homeless is okay though. So you let them stay in the trash. Interesting.
But so transitioning from Cuomo, because I feel like this is about to get ugly with him, and I'm gonna follow this more closely than what I have been, because I'm interested in what turn this is about to take. But going into this aspect of, when I first read the article, I said to myself, this is real. And I thought it was just they were going to get rid of him out of Space Jam. Space Jam 2. I thought it was just he's not going to appear in Space Jam. But they said they're getting rid of him from this point on. They're not using that character anymore. How about rewrite his lines? It's not a real person. Just not his personality. Cartoons don't have personalities. He's redeemable. All you have to do is just cut the lines. You don't even have to erase anything. Change the lines. Make up new lines. Make them more remorseful. But this whole thing of just canceling people because you don't like them, it's not even what they did wrong at that point. You just don't like them. So I don't want to ever see you again. But what about the person who voices him? Now he doesn't have a job. The person who in charge of drawing him for, subsequent or new, they don't have a job no more. Or they may be moved somewhere else, but they don't have this as a character anymore. So that's people losing a job. Because a cartoon character skunk is sexually aggressive. But I don't know. Do you think Trump is going to run for governor of or senator of Florida?
Oh, that's the first I heard of this.
Well, I mean, there's a rumor going around social media that he has a plan to run in another election and do it from Florida, like run
Hmm.
for some top office in Florida. Do you think? I mean, with the way Florida votes or doesn't vote, I would say doesn't vote because there's too many black people in Florida for them to keep being Republican, a Republican state, or Republicans to keep winning that state. But do you think he could be a governor or even a mayor?
You got
You think
comments?
it's that you think it's that many people there that would vote for him to be
Oh, in
a
Florida?
governor?
Oh, yeah, he would win.
I want him just executed. I want to know the where his trial is right now, and
You got
I'm
comments coming in
curious.
too.
You said who?
Comments.
Oh, Paris. First of all, who cares to have a platform like this? Why such a topic? First of all, well, Paris, it's my platform. I own the rights to this platform. And I can talk about whatever I want to talk about. Would you like to call in, Paris? A do you have a topic that is worthy of me discussing, that you feel worthy of me discussing? Call us 443-64. Oh, what number was I about to give?
You were close.
I was? Oh my goodness. I thought I was about to
Four
give
four
out
three six four two
something
nine
else.
four zero three.
Call us 443-642-9403. Call us, Paris. If you're not just a bot on, he probably on YouTube. It's one of them YouTube people. They be real courageous. Paris with two R's. Hmm. Educational system. Where you from, Paris? But you know, I feel like the artist exchange is really changing because some of the stuff that I want to talk about, I'm not tired of talking about art related things, but it's a lot of things that are affecting us. And after this last year, it's a damn shame. We're dying in the streets every day. We are dying, but I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm not super spreading. Where you from, Paris? Are you from Paris, Paris? Paris, Georgia? Is that where you at? But why? Why me? I've had a great 2 days. I just wanted to talk about. Have you been vaccinated, Paris? Have you been sick socially distancing yourself, Paris? I have. Are you getting the vaccine? What do you do for a living, Paris? I'm in the hotel, sitting on the. This is what social media has become. It's just. I think I know this, Paris. Come on, bro. Call in. We gave you the number 443-642-9403. You have space and opportunity. Call in and voice your opinion. Just don't flush the toilet in the background. No vet. So you can't call? This is this
No, I think he
jungle?
was at. I think I don't want to call it.
Is
I
this
can't see the
jungle?
picture because I don't want to. I think they are saying they did not take the vaccine. Not hell no, they're not gonna call.
But you're in a hotel. Super spreader. You're
Four
part of
four
the
three
problem.
642 9403.
Call in. I dare
Yes,
you.
what's the number?
I dare you. I dare you. But yeah, politics is definitely. I've tried to stay away from the news a lot because I just got tired of reading them new up to date numbers on coronavirus. I'm tired of psyching myself up in that way. Um, and you said, Marty, that you're not getting the vaccine yet.
Yet.
You're going to wait.
Hmm.
Um,
It actually hasn't
but
been offered to me yet, but I'm not because I'm not going to CVS to do it. I need my doctor to be involved.
it's very suspicious to me that the CEO of CVS and Walmart and a number of these CEOs were sitting with Trump, and now they're being allowed to be exclusively the people who are giving out these vaccines. Now, here in Baltimore, at our Civic Center, they're doing like mass um, vaccines, but it's still for certain populations. It's not anybody can show up. You
I
still
mean,
have
I
to.
did get a letter from my insurance provider that said that they have it, they have the vaccines, but they are doing it
Uh,
they're doing it through the membership and giving it to the people that
yeah,
are most critically in need first.
vulnerable.
Yeah.
But I'm still worried because other countries have like the Johnson & Johnson one. Um, the country has there's other countries that have banned it or
Hmm.
they stopped the usage of it or given it out
Well,
because a
there are
lot of
some
people have gotten sick
critical
from it.
things that are listed on there that actually will opt you out of being able to get it. Like if you've had the flu, um, one of them is
Mm,
like a respiratory infection, bronchitis,
right. It's
things like
crazy. You
that.
know what?
And
I
I'm
have
still
not
waiting for it to say
had.
something about diabetes. That's why I'm waiting for my doctor because I'm pre-diabetic and I don't want to get it
Yeah,
without consulting my doctor.
yeah,
I want her
yeah.
involved. She
And
will
see,
make
I
the
don't think
decision for
they're
me
taking
if
into
it's okay for me to get
consideration.
it.
And the way they're doing it, like even telling people if you have gotten both of your dosage of the vaccine, you can now it's certain things you can do, like being around other people
Hmm.
without like I think that's so irresponsible to give that information out as of right now. When you're not even telling the public that this is a trial. We're in the
And
middle of a trial vaccine right now. I don't even think they can legally call it a vaccine or should be able to legally call it a vaccine until they got scientific proof of it working. And now, okay, now we know we can do this, or we have to give this type of dosage to this type of person. And none of that information right now, it's just sitting and waiting.
hmm
So you got it. Okay, let me call you in 30 days and see where you at. Your arm hurting. Okay, symptoms of numbness and arm. Like I don't know anybody who's had any complications. One of my friends who is in Georgia is he's complaining of severe arm pain, and that's normal when you get flu shot. You get it's kind of sore, but he said it's like it's been 2 weeks since he got his second dosage, and it still hurts. He said his arm is still numb.
hmm
So I don't, and that's just one person out of how many people have gotten it. But the percentage of the people who've gotten it versus everybody else is still a relatively very small number. And
Yeah.
do you know we've maintained number 26 on the list out of the country for almost a month now, over a month, I believe.
For infections,
We've been number 26.
for the amount of infections.
Uh, yeah, may our number, and that may be why our governor is trying and pushing for everything to be open up. But I'm gonna tell you, the rules that we have here in the city, out in the county, we don't have. They don't have those rules. I was out in Hunt Valley. Yeah, I was out in Hunt Valley not too long ago, and went into the Starbucks, and nobody in there had a mask on. I mean, I know when you're eating, there's limited, but it was a lot of people sitting in there.
Hmm.
Like, and it wasn't like these tables were closed down. You could sit anywhere you wanted to sit.
Mm.
So they had already went back to normal. It's
Regular,
like they went
yeah.
back to normal. Now,
Mm.
when they outside or there's a market out there as well. They was in a market, everybody had their mask on, but I feel like people have already went back to normal. I've seen a lot more events starting to happen and being, taped and filmed and streamed. I think people are really exhausted because on one hand, the CDC is saying, you know, continue to quarantine, but then they tell people who have taken that,
If they take
you
the
know,
vaccine, they can go back
no,
to. Hmm.
like that's normal. And the numbers had declined for like the mid February. They had started to drop, but then they're now back rising up.
Yeah, I just
They
seen a
haven't
report
spiked.
earlier, a video earlier. I can't remember what I was watching. I think it was on CNN though, where
Uh-huh.
people that were taking the vaccine that finally came, started to see their grandkids again and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it was sweet, but
yeah.
I worry.
I'm worried. I'm worried that in this slump, like us, Maryland here, being in Maryland, so that tells our leadership, our powers that be, oh, we can open back up.
Yeah, as of 5
But
o'clock
that's
today,
why,
Maryland is open.
yeah,
Maryland is open. It's a 5 o'clock today.
yeah, and it's.
I'm not
Call me,
open.
and this way I'm gonna be at. I'm virtual. You can text me. You can FaceTime me.
Because I really don't believe it should have opened until we were at least, and I'm saying at the least 50% of vaccination.
Yeah. And I don't even think
no
we
point
at 10%.
in doing this if you're going to just start surrounding people. You're surrounding outside with people that are not vaccinated and going to the stores with people that are vaccinated, but the risk is still there because they could still have it even being vaccinated, because the vaccination does not prevent you from catching it.
No.
It prevents you from having severe effects from it. So you could pass that to me that's not vaccinated. And I'm not vaccinated, so I'm going to get the severe effects.
Who can't get a vaccine yet.
Right.
Right. And it's just, I'm worried. And
like, I don't know where does it make sense that at 8% of vaccinations, that it makes sense to start opening stuff up. I'll go back to normal because only 8% of people got vaccinated. That doesn't make sense to me. But now the thing is that they're going to have vaccinations. The majority of people are supposed to have been vaccinated by the end of May, which sounds good. Why can't you wait 2 more months?
It does, but it hasn't happened yet. Right. So why are we jumping the gun now? Like, I know this is costing this country a lot, but it's cost us a lot of deaths in us not being consistent. And there are countries like
when you say it's costing us a lot, you also lost you're losing all those people that were taxpayers. That money's never coming back now. You can't forget about that. The people that died were taxpayers. So you've lost that money, and you've lost that money for good. If you're trying to put a dollar amount to life. And I thought we weren't supposed to do that. I thought life was supposed to be priceless.
Well, in terms of cases, at number 1, it's California. 2, Texas. 3,
the biggest
Florida.
States, of course.
New York, Illinois.
All the bigger states.
Georgia. All of those that are over 1 million
population
cases.
Centers. There's a whole bunch of all the population centers.
We're still down. Yep, we still down here. But these numbers, they're going back up. You saw a kind of decline or plateau. I think it was more so a plateau. But you're starting to see numbers steadily climb, because if you're opening things, I just imagine this time next week what the numbers are going to be. Being as though here in Maryland, we're opening back up. Students have been in school. So that means children going back home with family members. So the family members either giving it to the children or the children giving it to the family members, and them people going to the market and going out in public and to these super spreader events, these comedy shows and birthday parties and weddings, and I'm not downing people for choosing to go forward, because it's my choice as a guest to go. I went to a funeral throughout all this because I did not want to miss that funeral. But I put myself in quarantine for the next 2 weeks after that, because I didn't know. And shockingly, and I'm not a person that gets sick a lot anyway, but I have not even had a cold during this time. And I don't want to get used to, being inside. And that's the way I don't get sick, because I've had to go out, and work. I have to work. But at the same time, I'm not willing to throw myself under the bus for what? You know,
When your mission should be to outlive this.
yeah, I mean, and I'm quite sure a lot of people would have still been here had our leadership said, you know what, across the board, all of our states, all of our cities and counties, we're all going to shut down and then we're all going to open back up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and if we would have did that instead of this state closing and that state opening up, and then people doing what they want to do in between that, it's just going to keep cycling. India has more, I think, has even more people than China at this point. We are beating India.
We would have been much better if we would have followed the same thing that Canada did, where they shut down completely and they provided a stipend for their residents per month.
Yeah, but they still consistently shut down. Out of other countries,
they did, but they paid their people to stay home. That's what I'm getting at. And they paid their people to stay home to the point where they could actually open schools back up because the virus was not heavily in the, infection rate wasn't skyrocketing.
But even some of them, once they opened their schools back up, they realized they had to close them back down.
Not all of them. They did it, but it was spot checked. It was spot checking, and when they found a case, they would send those people home and then shut down their school for 2 or 3 days. But then they were back open 2 or 3 days later after they did a deep cleaning. That was more cost effective than this crap that we're doing.
Opening and closing.
Yeah.
And we're not. I don't even think we're at 10% vaccinated yet in our state, and they're already.
And the reason why I say that is because that changed their educational environment for the better, because they were able to stay open.
Yeah. But it was, and they were more.
Where we got people dropping out of school in the virtual environment. They just dropping out. They don't want to do the virtual.
That part I still don't understand because, I get how it affected children and it affected households and, how much you could work because you had to be there for your child. But we cannot blame your child not logging in at all on the pandemic. We just can't do it. There was a problem. And I think a lot of parents realized, oh, shit. It was something to that teacher calling my house every day. Damn. So he really don't do what he's supposed to be doing. No.
Oh yeah.
I know some parents who were
right.
It was some parents that were just upset at the fact that their child had to be in. This wasn't a punishment. Quarantine was not a punishment. It was a necessity.
Mm-hmm.
And we clearly can see that a lot of people, even people who were doing what they were supposed to do.
There needs to be a commission.
Who had to get out and work.
A commission on this. Once this is over with, they need to do a commission on this. So there's no reason in our day that we should not have been prepared for such a thing.
But the country was prepared. There was a whole board.
No, there was a plan. I'm not talking about Obama's plan, but I'm just saying in particular, even from a state level, that we should have been prepared for this.
Yeah.
This is not the first time a pandemic has happened. This is not. Because we always talk about the Spanish flu and all that kind of stuff. I mean, you learned that in school about the Spanish flu. Why did you think that this could not happen again and then be prepared for it in case you had to shut down? There should have been case studies on top of case study on top of case study on how to do and handle a pandemic.
Now, in the beginning of this, I let you know, I knew a friend of mine who was on the panel, the board for Obama's pandemic emergency plan,
the
readiness program.
Readiness plan.
And and that's why I've been able to refocus my energy so well, because she had already prepared me for this back in like April. She said, we're not she said you might as well just get used to doing this for the next year
But what makes
and a half or
what
so.
makes no sense to me too as well is
Hmm.
we look at the Spanish flu, but it wasn't. That was 100 years ago, right?
Right, right.
You had the HIV epidemic that you also had. That was only 40 years ago, which will be more modern.
Hmm.
That you had to deal with as well back then.
Yeah.
It didn't cause the company to shut down because it was a sexually transmitted disease, but at the same time, it was still an epidemic, and you had to try to figure out what you could not
And you
do.
didn't know the rhyme or reason to it. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
It seems like we
But
just
I
were
think even
unprepared for any
I
of
do
it.
think
Just
this
we
was
knew how to
different.
test. Like, how is that the
Yeah,
only thing you know how to do in the beginning? Is test.
well, even for the test was still haphazard
That's what I'm
because
saying.
it
Right.
wasn't everybody didn't get tested.
Hmm.
So even with that wasn't foolproof because you said to get people. The only people that were getting tested was the people that was considered essential.
Hmm.
You
It just
know,
didn't make sense. None of this made sense to me. Like, it just.
I think the only people that were really focusing on getting tested and that are still getting tested are people in entertainment
Hmm.
or athletes. Everybody else, it was just, well, I feel okay, so I'm good.
Well, I do know of some employers that are out there that do test on a regular, especially when they have to have their employees in a close proximity. But they don't.
Hmm.
They test like once a week, or some of them test if you feel like you have the symptoms, and they'll test you then.
Mm.
I
I
know some
mean,
people
this
that
is
have
really,
been quarantined, have been sent home to quarantine, and things like that.
yeah.
So it is testing going on, and other tests are cheaper, and you can buy them at the store and all this other kind of stuff. So I mean, the improvements
Uh,
have happened, but it took you a year.
and I'm feeling like that's for damn customer service.
And what's interesting about that year is that like every university that has a lab has been doing the investigation on this virus, but it only seems like it felt like we were just learning. Like
Hmm.
it didn't feel like we were being educators
Like we was an
on,
established country who should have been doing preparation like this before.
and that's where we failed because remember,
And we got
45
John
is the one
Hopkins
that kept
here.
saying that
Like,
it's not coming here, it's never going to come here. Yet you got a whole entire cruise ship sitting in California with patients out the ass. It was a whole cruise ship full of people, and you let them back in the country, and then it started spreading
mm, and
because
I'm
you
just
were
thinking
talking
about
before you knew facts.
and see, and I think from the very beginning we did not take this seriously because you remember in February I did a whole month of a play
Hmm.
and we had sold out houses. So I could have definitely and we shake every person's hand that came. We would get in a line and people would come and shake and we shook hands.
Hmm.
And it was just, we were smart enough to, get a big thing of Purell and, every now and again, everybody squirt. But it's still like they were giving out facts like, oh, yeah, it's going to be just like such and such, the swine flu. It's just going to be just another thing like that. It's not going to be without knowing the details. And now we're realizing they knew the details and didn't take it
Yeah,
seriously.
I mean, and then there's also the fact that the case rate hasn't bottomed out. Like I don't think anybody should
Yeah.
be going anywhere until we see zero deaths.
Well, I mean, and the fact that people are now going on vacations. And I just saw,
That's
a
what I said
cousin
too.
of
But I
mine,
did say that as soon as I get the vaccine, once I get it, I'm out of
but
here.
these people don't have the vaccine. They don't
Right.
have the
That's what I'm
and
saying.
I'm
But once I get it, and they say I'm okay, there you go,
right.
you got it. I'm getting out of this. I got to get out of here. I can't sit here no more.
But you're not gonna go with a whole group of people
No.
either.
Oh, I definitely no. I travel by myself. I can't do it.
Yeah, but it's and I'm not saying because I took a couple staycations and I went and stayed in a hotel room for a week twice.
Hmm.
And I just, because I live by myself. I don't have a roommate or anything. So it gets crazy. And you're working, you're working in the basement and living upstairs and like
Right.
I was going crazy. I was literally going crazy.
Hmm.
And it was so uncomfortable, but people are taking this as if the government is doing something to us
Hmm.
and not realizing, you know, the most hurtful thing to me throughout this whole thing was having to do weekly FaceTimes with my grandmother in the hospital
Mm.
with all my cousins and aunts on the phone. That that to me was made me take this seriously. Because to watch my grandmother, slowly go into an Alzheimer's state, and we couldn't go and see her. We couldn't, be there to kind of slow the process. Because, when you're around people, you're talking to them and you're sharing stories, that helps them to hang on longer.
Right.
But, and she's doing well now, but it's still, we all can't go see her. You know, my aunt and my two aunts, my two surviving aunts, they are able to go see her because they've been going to see her. But they don't want the family to now us take turns because that's too many different people around her. But they've gone to allowing them to go inside of the nursing home now. Because at first they were just outside. It was a tent and that was it. When they did open it up for visitors. You know, it was just this has been hard, but I'm glad that I talked to you, my friend, in the beginning because I would have been, every month when they said, well, we're gonna open up in May and we're gonna open up in June and we're gonna open up in August. And here it is exactly a year later. It's exactly a year. And I think we've already passed. I think yesterday was the anniversary for when they announced this was a pandemic, a global pandemic. I just wanna I gotta do some shit. This weather got me feeling. I was this close to putting on some shorts, some jean shorts. I already wore my dashiki and some sandals because that's how good the weather was feeling. But I know we gotta still be responsible, even in the good weather, because I was ready. Um, but as we close out, I want to say once again, Big Exposed Radio is the station for you. Come join us. We're on a virtual platform until this pandemic eases up. So it's very easy for you and your guests to connect here on this station. And you can hit us up at info@bigexposedradio.com. Go to our YouTube page, like, share, subscribe, and check us out. Check out the shows that we have on so far. And if you have a show, if you want a show, if you have an idea for a show, we can work with all of that. Just hit us up. Um, yeah. And next up is the Cocktail Social. And do we have any new shows? It is what it is. Will be joining us back in April, beginning of April. Do we have any other announcements?
No, that's it.
That's it. So again, hit us up, info@theexposedradio.com. Tune into the Artist Exchange every Friday at 5 p.m. And also I'm on Bingeworthy Podcast. You can hit us up at Bingeworthy Podcast on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. And that's a new episode comes out every Tuesday at 3 p.m. And we have an episode that's out right now. So go binge watch it. We finished our first season. We're actually almost halfway through our second season. And then Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. I'm on We Are You morning show on weareyouradio.com. So check me out. I'm trying to just be out there. But hit us up. Peace out, people. I should ask his brother too.